Back on dry land, the silence of my apartment felt louder than the river's current. The image of that object was seared into my mind, a dark, indistinct shape that defied easy explanation. I couldn't shake the feeling that what I had stumbled upon was not just old debris, but something significant. Something that felt out of place, even in a river known for collecting the forgotten artifacts of the city above. The initial thrill of discovery had been replaced by a gnawing unease. I replayed the dive in my head, every detail magnified. The way the silt seemed to cling to its surface, the unnatural density of its form against the murky water. It was a puzzle I couldn't solve on my own. I knew I was out of my depth, both literally and figuratively. My own research led me down a dozen different rabbit holes. Was it a piece of an old shipwreck? Industrial machinery? Something else entirely? Every theory I developed seemed to crumble under the weight of the unknown. The ambiguity was the most unsettling part. So, I made a decision. I had to know what it was. I compiled the clearest segments of the footage, stabilized the shaky frames, and prepared to send it out. I knew I needed an expert opinion, someone with the training to see what I couldn't. I showed the footage to professionals, and their reactions scared me. It wasn't a single, dramatic moment. It was a slow dawning dread, built from a series of quiet, alarming responses. The first was from a marine archaeologist I contacted. He was initially enthusiastic, intrigued by the possibility of a historical find. But after viewing the short clip, his tone shifted. He became guarded, formal. He said the object's shape didn't align with any known shipwreck debris from the area and advised extreme caution. He used the phrase potential modern hazard and suggested I contact a different kind of expert. That was the first red flag. After finding this object underwater and returning to the same spot, I had meticulously logged the GPS coordinates, a waypoint marked on my dive computer, a digital breadcrumb leading back to the mystery. My intention had been to return with better equipment, perhaps a clearer camera lens or more powerful lights. But the archaeologist's warning echoed in my mind. Returning felt reckless now, irresponsible. The memory of the dive was now tainted with a sense of foreboding. What had I been swimming so close to? What had I almost touched? The footage sat on my laptop, a file named with the date and the word anomaly. It felt like a piece of evidence in a case I didn't understand. Following the archaeologist's advice, I broadened my search for experts. My thinking had shifted from historical curiosity to immediate risk assessment. I looked for specialists in salvage, civil engineering, and even law enforcement dive teams. I needed someone who dealt not with the past, but with the present-day dangers that might lie hidden in our waterways. I drafted a new email, this time to a firm specializing in underwater surveying and hazard identification. I kept the message brief, professional. I attached the video file, the small thumbnail a murky, indecipherable blot. In the subject line, I wrote, "Urgent identification request." I sent the footage to experts and asked one question, "What is it?" The waiting was the worst part. Hours turned into a day. I checked my phone incessantly, my mind cycling through possibilities. Every notification sound made my heart jump. I tried to distract myself, reviewing my dive logs, but my focus kept returning to that email, floating in the digital ether. I had opened a door, and I was beginning to fear what might come through it. The reply came not as an email, but as a direct message on a secure platform they had asked me to join. It was from a senior technician. The message was short, blunt, and devoid of any pleasantries. It didn't offer an identification. It offered a command. They told me this is extremely dangerous and should never be touched. My blood ran cold. The words on the screen seemed to glow with an intensity that belied their simple text format. This wasn't a suggestion. It was an order. A second message appeared almost immediately, as if the sender knew the first would need clarification. This message was slightly more detailed. It explained that while a definitive ID from my low-visibility footage was impossible, the object's characteristics were consistent with certain types of unexploded ordnance, or UXO. Specifically, it resembled a naval mine or a large caliber shell from a bygone era, possibly dislodged from an old military dumping site or a scuttled vessel. They explained that the silt and corrosion I observed could be hiding a highly unstable trigger mechanism. Decades underwater doesn't necessarily make these things safe. In some cases, it makes them more volatile. The expert was clear. The object's stability was completely unknown. The river current, a passing boat, even the vibrations from nearby construction could be enough to cause a detonation. If disturbed, it could seriously injure someone, or worse. The blast wave and shrapnel would be lethal to anyone in the immediate vicinity, and the shockwave could travel through the water, posing a risk to vessels on the surface. I thought back to my dive, to how close I had been. My fins had likely stirred the water just feet from it. My flashlight beam had danced across its surface. The thought was sickening. The responsibility felt immense. This wasn't just my secret anymore. It was a public safety hazard, a ticking time bomb hidden in plain sight. The expert's final message instructed me on the exact protocol to follow. Do not return to the site. Do not share the location publicly. Report it to the proper authorities immediately. They provided a direct contact for the regional Coast Guard and the local police department's Marine unit. There was no hesitation. My adventure had turned into a civic duty. I pulled up the mapping software on my phone, my fingers feeling clumsy and slow. I found the waypoint I had so carefully marked, a simple digital pin that now represented a point of extreme danger. I followed the expert's instructions to the letter, composing a formal report. I immediately reported the location and decided not to return. I sent the coordinates, a summary of the expert's assessment, and my own contact information to the authorities. A confirmation receipt appeared on my screen. It was done. The burden of knowledge was now shared, passed on to the people equipped to handle it. A profound sense of relief washed over me, but it was mingled with a lingering chill. I walked to my window and looked out towards the river, now just a dark ribbon in the distance. It looked so peaceful, so benign. This is why you never touch suspicious objects underwater. It's one of the first rules you learn as a diver, but it's a rule that can feel abstract, theoretical, until it isn't. You see something intriguing, and your curiosity takes over. You want to brush away the silt, to see what's underneath, to solve the puzzle. But my experience is a stark reminder that some puzzles are best left unsolved by amateurs. The water hides more than just history. It hides dangers we are not prepared for. Did I do the right thing? I've asked myself that question 100 times. By reporting it, I may have initiated a process that will close this part of the river for a time, disrupting the lives of others who use it. But the alternative, the thought of a boater, another diver, or even a child accidentally stumbling upon it, that is a weight I couldn't bear. The what if is too terrible to contemplate. I have to believe that prioritizing safety, even at the cost of my own curiosity and a little disruption, was the only responsible choice. I may never know the final outcome of my report. These operations are often handled quietly, without public fanfare, for obvious security reasons. But I know I did what I had to do based on the information I had. My role in this story is over. It's now in the hands of professionals. And a quick note, the events depicted are based on a real experience, but some details have been altered for safety and privacy. The core lesson, however, remains unchanged. Observe, document, and report. Never interfere. What would you have done in my position? Tell me what you think. And follow for the next dive. They acknowledged the report. It wasn't a dramatic flurry of communication, just a quiet, professional confirmation. A simple notice, case received. With those two words, the responsibility shifted from my shoulders to a chain of command I had to trust. After that, the river went quiet again, at least on the surface. The usual rhythm of the water returned, a placid mask over the unseen tension below. From my window, dusk slid over the water like a lid, concealing the work that had just begun. Somewhere out there, professionals were doing what they do best. Explosive ordnance disposal teams, marine units, people for whom this wasn't a shock but a procedure. There were no sirens, no spectacle. Panic is a liability, and their first job is to contain it, just measured steps and closed channels. The operation unfolds in whispers, not shouts. I kept my distance, respecting the perimeter I couldn't see. I watched the shoreline change in small ways, a cordoned-off path that wasn't there yesterday. A patrol boat sitting a little longer than usual against the current. Its presence, a subtle warning. A few silhouettes conferring in low voices, their body language all business. No details came back to me, and that was the point. I could only imagine the process. Sonar scans painting a digital picture of the riverbed, a remotely operated vehicle sent down for a first look, its cameras peering through the silt. Discretion is part of safety. It prevents copycats, protects the teams, and allows them to work without an audience. In the space left behind, reflection filled the room. It's a myth that old ordnance is inert. Time can make it more unstable, not less. Silt and corrosion can hide a hair trigger. Responsibility isn't dramatic. It's a series of quiet choices that add up, a checklist followed without deviation. If you dive, you learn these principles early. But you only really own them when they're tested in the cold, murky reality of an unplanned discovery. For anyone who finds something that doesn't feel right underwater, the protocol is your lifeline. Remember this. Don't touch. Curiosity is a powerful current. Fight the urge to investigate. Let it pass. Back away slowly. Reduce all unnecessary movement. Minimize silt. Your goal is to leave the scene exactly as you found it. Keep your light steady but brief. Get the information you need, nothing more. Mark it, not physically, digitally. A general waypoint is enough. Make a mental note of the depth, the current's direction and strength, the visibility, any nearby features that can act as a landmark. Take no souvenirs, no nudges for a better look. Absolutely no, just one brush. Surface calmly, maintaining your composure. Log what you saw immediately, while every detail is fresh in your mind. Then, report it through official channels. Use local marine units, the Coast Guard, or recognized hazard reporting lines. Share only what's needed with the right people. Your job is to be a good witness. Avoid posting locations or specifics publicly. This isn't for clout, it's for safety. And if someone in authority says, "Stand down," you do it without question. Let the experts carry the risk they're trained for years to manage. Your part of the story is over. I won't share more than this. Not the place, not the assumptions, not the outcome. Some stories ask for restraint, and in this world, restraint can save lives. My takeaway from all this is simple. Adventure doesn't vanish when you draw a boundary around your curiosity. It gets sharper, more defined. The next dive will be different, wiser, safer, and more deliberate, and it will still be worth the descent. If you want to be there when it happens and learn from these experiences alongside me, follow along. We'll go back to the water soon, with our eyes wide open, our lines clear, and with respect, always first. Night reset. The river holds its breath. City hum in the distance, a cool thrum under glass. I've handed it off. That weight is elsewhere now. My job is to watch, not to know. They arrive without arrival. A quiet van. Dim work lights hooded from the path. No sirens, no crowd, just tape, stakes, measured space. A patrol boat idles against the current, steady as a metronome. Tools take the lead. Sonar fans the riverbed. Blue-gray ghosts in a grid. Magnetometer passes, clean lines becoming data. Radios speak in commas, not sentences. Copy. Mark. Stand by. Perimeter holds. A fisherman turns away, a polite nod from a gloved hand. Paper notices taped at eye level. Closed path. Temporary. Calm is the protocol. Procedure the language. Assessment, not adventure. The ROV slips under, light like a blade in the silt. No poking, no touching, only angles, scale, shadow. A corroded cylinder, half buried, familiar only to those who need to know. Waiting is work. Teams confer under muted headlamps, tide tables, current maps, timing windows sketched in pencil. Patience over bravado. Time is a tool. Decision narrows to a tree of options. Mark, monitor, remove. I won't guess the branch they choose. That choice belongs to training, not story. What I carry forward is simple. Courage looks like caution. Being a witness beats being a hero. Respect the unseen. Leave the river as you found it. Dawn leans into the water, a soft tint on the chop. Engines lower to a murmur. Notes are logged, quietly. The city exhales. So do I. Epilogue continues where noise ends.